Hi, this is Micah Bloomberg with Silicon Valley Global News, and I'm here with Shawn Frayne. He's the CEO and co-founder of Looking Glass Factory. What we're going to look at today and talk to Shawn about are displays that take advantage of the natural light field to show you basically with tracking your head movement and your hand movement, a light field display that is giving you an image that's based upon your perspective in the room. So if you move to the left, you're going to see the image from the left side. If you move to the right, you see it from the right side. It's like VR without glasses. This kind of display really has to be seen in person to fully appreciate how amazing it is, but we'll show you a little bit on video. So hello, Shawn.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. So tell me about tell me about the display and the main concept that you're sharing with the world.
Sure. So the displays are called a looking glass, and they're a holographic display that shows genuinely 3D content to groups of people. While we do for some interactions track your hands, actually there's no head tracking. So you can get 1, 2, 3, 10, whatever folks around the looking glass and experience different three-dimensional perspectives of holographic content. And what we're showing today are some of our largest systems that we've ever made. Behind me here, the 15.6 inch 4K second generation system and the 8K 32 inch second generation looking glass.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna move the camera a little bit. I'm gonna just pick this up and just, because this is just really, it's a little bit challenging to appreciate
Yeah.
from a video, but if you move slightly to the left and to the right, you're seeing a slight change in your perspective. And it does show up and see it like now isn't that amazing? All right. So go ahead and continue telling us about this amazing display.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, we came out with, I don't know if you're getting this on camera, but this is our looking glass portrait, which we launched a little, almost a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And so we've shipped well over 10.
Zoom in with the focus, okay.
Sure.
It's a beautiful display. In real life, that is incredible 3D, high quality. It's beautiful. Like this kind of this kind of display is an eye turner. If you buy this for your store, for the window of your shop, you're gonna have people stopping and staring to see what your message is. I mean, this is amazing.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so a lot of folks are making amazing holograms for these systems now, both photographic holograms using tools on their iPhone, mm-hmm. But then, like in this case, this was made in a 3D program called Blender that some millions of folks use, and this is by an artist, Arendelle, and just like incredible work.
Yeah.
And so we've been getting those out into the world, the looking glass portraits, mm-hmm. And a lot of the software tools that let folks turn anything in 3D into a hologram that can run in these displays. So what we're sharing here today are kind of our largest format systems. Mm-hmm. This one is the 4K Gen 2, and this larger one, the 8K Gen 2. And they're kind of a bigger canvas for holographic creations. Runs on the same software as a smaller desktop unit, but for folks that are creating larger experiences, especially if they're adding things like interactivity or demonstrating a new product, then they're a really good choice for folks to use. I'll run through some other content here too.
Sounds great.
Let's see. Here's some light field photos. This one is, that's Missy from the team.
And she's in 3D. So, we saw this news story a while back about a tech company that was using displays not too different from this to create like a video conferencing. Is that a realistic thing for your company?
Oh yeah, sure. Folks are building those applications on top of these displays now. Those are my kiddos. So more holograms of these two kids than anyone else in the world, probably.
So there is potential for people to be captured in real time in 3D. I've talked to a number of companies that are doing real time 3D capture. There's a number of technologies that are facilitating really rapid like neural rendering that can very quickly turn 2D into 3D.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can display it on something like this.
Yeah, there's this move from sort of flat land and flat content, flat media, flat communication to spatial media, spatial communication, spatial creation in 3D. And so this is one of the few ways that a group of people can actually experience that content together. And everything that you're mentioning of folks using new algorithms, new techniques to take 2D content and then infill it to make it three-dimensional, to make photogrammetry models and out of like video scans and whatnot. All of those things are being actually pulled into the Looking Glass in the hologram creator community that are using the Looking Glass today.
And I know some people in the tech community, major tech companies, are they're saying that the internet of today doesn't have the bandwidth for the vision of the metaverse that we want, the Oasis, the high resolution real-time 3D graphic reconstruction of avatars. But we're also seeing these amazing new innovations in AI technology that can take something like 2D pictures or just like reconstructions of the volumetric video or the video streaming that could be rendered by the neural network.
That's right.
So that what you have to send through the pipeline is much less than what you think you need to send through it.
That's right. And of course, we know there's a lot of work going on there for two-dimensional video calls, so that you don't have to send such huge amounts of data to have a high fidelity experience. And those same type of techniques often are creating three-dimensional content in the background, and those are being used experimentally in things like the Looking Glass. So I think everyone's always worried about whether the currently existing pipes can support the dreams of the future. Folks worried about this and the transition from telegraph to telephone, and it always happens. But the way history usually plays out is that we use the pipes, we use the distribution mechanisms that exist from one stage of technology, and those will help us get to the next stage. And they're plenty. They're sufficient for getting an 8K holographic video feed like this sent around the world.
Mm-hmm. There you are. A skateboard. Looking Glass Factory, 8K Gen 2.
I could show you something else over here too.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
So let's check out the latest.
So this is our entire tech stack, if you will, from our hardware to our software is real time. Okay. So everything can update at 60 frames a second. While I showed you a bunch of holographic photographs, you could see that there's some holographic video shorts as well. But you can also build in Unity and Unreal with some of our plugins.
So Unity and Unreal engines, these are game engines that are used by the vast majority of game developers. Wow.
So in this case, this was a product demo that was demonstrating a jet engine. And this was built in Unity, and you can see my hand is being tracked by this peripheral called the Leap Motion Controller. And then if I put two hands in, I can rotate around the explode view of the jet engine.
Yep. And this is 3D. This is a 3D for both of us because it's the actual pixels in the display that are making the 3D possible.
That's right. So this display is very unique. It's actually hollow. I don't know if you can actually tell.
It's hollow?
Yeah, you can reach your hand in. Keep going.
Oh
keep going.
Gosh.
Keep going.
Wow. Yeah, there's definitely some space there.
So the holograms kind of exist within this space outside of the physical structure itself.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And the way that works is basically we're controlling the directionality of, in this case, 100 million points of light. And we're updating that. Cool.
It's all right.
Gives a full experience, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. There's the Ultra Leap device right there.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're working with the latest technology from Ultra Leap.
Yeah. So some of their newer controllers work really well
Mm-hmm.
with the system, um, with the Looking Glass as well. Really anything that folks get working in like Unity or Unreal or.
So your company's been doing this for a few years. You, from my perspective, you have great reception from the industry. How do you feel about your industry reception?
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I mean, folks, we don't like to talk about things before we can actually deliver them, and so I think that's been really important in this field where a lot of folks have talked about this future and it hasn't come yet. So the fact that the moment we talk about something, it's usually the moment that we're shipping it, and folks can use it and judge for themselves has built up a lot of credibility in our community of individual 3D creators, but also enterprise customers for this type of thing as well.
Is everything that we've seen today shipping already, or?
So many thousands of the Looking Glass portraits have shipped and continue to ship. These a small handful of beta units have shipped, but the main shipping is starting, I think, in a month or so.
Yeah.
And these larger units we've shipped quite a few early beta units, but the main shipping batches are starting about in a month or so as well.
But your company's, I guess the question I've been chasing is your company's seeing huge interaction with the existing metaverse industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, if you have mobile AR, and then you have headset-based VR and AR, then the third leg of how folks will be consuming and sharing and creating in 3D, we think are holographic displays like the Looking Glass.
Yeah, and these really rival. I mean, some people don't want to wear AR glasses. This really rivals the experiences you can have with AR.
Thank you. We think of ourselves as part of a bigger ecosystem, and folks will wear headsets part of the time. They will use mobile phones for part of the time, and they'll create and communicate and share experiences through the Looking Glass holographic displays part of the time too. So there's a lot of ways to get from point A to B, to get from flatlands to a 3D future, and we're excited to be one of the legs of the stool there.
I'm really excited about brain-computer interfaces and 3D graphics and visualizing your biometric data in 3D. That's it's one of the things that sort of like so attracts me to the whole category of virtual reality and 3D and augmented reality is the opportunity to advance neurobiology with 3D graphics in terms of the visualizations and maybe like the passive feedback of what a representation of your brain activity might mean to you.
Cool. Yeah.
Your brain can do. I argue that there was this. I saw someone say she said on Twitter. I'm not going to say her name, but she said she can't learn math and it's just too hard. I'm like, no, it's not. Every brain is essentially learning the same way, in terms of your brains learn temporal spatial input patterns to so that means if you have if your brain has good nutrition and you are applying yourself at learning mathematics or programming, you can learn it because there's not that much difference between one brain and the next.
That's right. Yeah.
Hebbian learning is the when neurons fire together, they wire together, and that's why anybody can learn math.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to say thank you so much for it. When you make 3D displays, how many things can you talk about? But I don't know. What else is there to talk about?
So speaking of the brain, why are we doing this? What's the reason for making holographic displays, holographic interfaces?
Yeah.
And it's because so much of our brain processes the world in 3D. Almost every animal has two eyes or more to perceive the world. And that's because our world is built in 3 dimensions. Right now, the way that I can get my thoughts over to you, if you're not here in the same room as me, has to go through this two-dimensional interface where I basically have to flatten my thinking and flatten what I'm sharing and conveying onto a flat surface. And then you're receiving it and have to re-expand it out into your brain. So it really makes sense that the next step in terms of how one brain can share ideas with another brain, and connect with somebody else across the world is going to involve a step from 2D to 3D. And it's not even radical anymore. It used to be radical when we started. The only sort of unusual thing that we're proposing and doing with Looking Glass is to say, not all the time, you won't be in a headset all the time. At least I hope not. Part of the time.
Same here.
Yeah, part of the time, that's cool. But I don't want to do it all the time. But I still want to be able to have that deep 3D brain to 3D interface to other 3D brain connection. And we get that with something like the Looking Glass. And it works together with everything else happening in the move from 2D to 3D. Like the engines like Unity and Unreal and so on, those are powering what we're doing, just like they're powering what's happening in mobile AR and what's happening in headset land.
Yeah, so for me, like what I'm really looking forward to with Looking Glass, as I mentioned before, is like the live stream video conferencing of a 3D representation of me talking to a 3D representation of you. And then we get to the fact that this technology is, that these technologies, these 3D technologies of the metaverse, of VR, 3D, AR, and 3D displays, is about, to summarize it, it's like the computer is an advanced tool that makes what we do, communication, a lot easier. And a brain-computer interface is also a tool designed to improve communication at some point.
That's right.
All of technology, this might argue, all of technology is eventually converging to be a better tool for communication.
Well, I totally agree. Yeah. So it's been wonderful to chat with you.
Likewise. Thank you. Cheers.